Hello and welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade, where we're joining Kali again after she escaped from the temporary Elysium with a much more wrapped worldview. Seemingly she was just played. They knew that her sire was giving weapons to the hunters, but they wanted to draw him out using me, Kali. So, yeah, we have two options. I feel like in this game, the detours you can skip them optionally, but there's also no, how do you say, there's no upside to skipping them. Like, you're not doing anything better, I guess. Like, you're just missing out on content. So I feel like the choices here are a little bit always a bit weird. Like, I can continue the main quest or I can do the side quest, and if I don't do the side quest now, I can never do it. So of course I want to do the side quest because it seems like I want to see all of the content of this game. So yeah, why not? D'Angelo's Bureau, the Promise, and the Monster. I nearly forgot I promised D'Angelo I'd pick him up on my way out of New York. I'd better swing by his office, that much I owe him. I'm halfway to the spot where I left my RV before I remember that not only I promised I'd pick up D'Angelo on the way out of New York, but that he'd himself asked me to leave together more than once. And D'Angelo, although his usefulness has been questionable, is the only person in this god-forsaken city who hasn't lied to me, manipulated me, or used me. The only person who I would still consider a friend. I can't help but notice that the common denominator between all those people I used to call friends is none other than me. But I don't have enough energy to burrow myself into that particular pit of despair at the moment. Anyway, my best boy D'Angelo deserves to have his promises kept, so I make a small detour and head towards his burrow. The sight I find is far from pretty. The whole space has been turned upside down, papers torn and scattered, corkboards dismantled and toppled over, the bare light bulbs above the desk cracked. But from the lack of bullet holes, scorch marks, lacerations, broken stakes, etc., I deduce that D'Angelo might have got out scot-free before any hunters laid their grubby paws on him. At least I hope he did. Well, take a look at his corkboards, what case he was working. Some of the recent looking pictures on the corkboards have been taken down and away, but few still remain. Most of them revolve around weapon stealing carted around the harbor, a huge lavish ship traversing the Hudson, a few skyscrapers among which I recognize the circulatory systems building and the double spirals. What were you sniffing around, little Chandler, and where did it lead you? Well, nothing for me here to loiter about. I turn around on my heel and head out, but a small smudge on the door catches my attention and stops me in my tracks. It's again, like, why can I not look at the documents as well? I mean, it looks like I have time here. It's our code. The one Reynard and I use. The symbol has been scribbled onto the door in a clearly unpracticed hand. I can see the hesitation in the lines, but it's perfectly legible nonetheless. I understand it immediately, even though it's not one I use very often. Meeting cancelled. All is well. I smile a little, seeing that chicken scratch, imagining D'Angelo writing the symbol onto the door in supreme focus, the stinky tobacco heater in his other hand. When some month ago D'Angelo wheedled me into teaching him how our secret language works, I didn't think it would come in handy. I told him to fuck off the first 7 times he asked. Persistent little bugger. Then I finally caved in and taught him a single sign and told him to be grateful for it. And here I am, so happy he remembered. Not only the sign, but also just put me at ease when he was undoubtedly fleeing for his unlife. And that he believed I would come looking for him, the way I promised. Friends like this are rare these days. I'm so happy that at least for D'Angelo, all is well. Interesting. So we're going to an isolated parking lot. Death after death. Fuck the tower. Fuck Reynard. And fuck my caretaker too. I'm out. I'm done. With Kadir pulling all the Camarilla forces, there's probably no one left to guard the only dependable thing I have in this wretched city. My fortress on wheels. My mobile haven. Well, let's figure it out. Interesting that I think they searched it. Like, his hound, Valerie, she searched it, but I guess they didn't take it specifically, right? At least that's how I understood it. I'm just now catching on that I've made it here. The haze kind of lifted, yet this emptiness inside isn't getting any smaller. If anything, it feels like it's expanding with no end in sight. For the moment, I push that feeling aside because there she stands. My ride or die. The one true escape pod from the dumpster fire of my current reality. Right now, this isn't just a car. It's the gateway driver out of the heist movie. Blasting us out of this shithole and onto the freeway of whatever comes next. Hey baby, your prodigal driver's back. What did they do to you, girl? Jesus. If only I knew. Maybe I would. At least the damage is done to mostly my stuff. Thank God they left your tires alone and the engine intact. Those assholes. Wrecking anything that means something to me. It's alright. I'll take us home. You're going to be okay. I just need you to do one thing for me. Get me out of here. Just can't stay here any longer. I'm just crossing my fingers. They left the keys behind. The last thing I want is to have to rip into you any further. I zip past the bunkhouse, left in shambles from the intrusive Camarilla search, and vault right into the driver's seat. The comfort of the old beaten leather, cracking under my weight, is small, but a welcome win. But that feeling is short-lived. The keys are, predictably, missing. I scour everywhere. The floor, the glove compartment, the door pockets, the sun visor, even the crevices of the seat. Zip, zilch, nada. That's when I catch it. Distinct jingling of car keys, and it's coming from directly behind me. Looking for these, I take it. 1,000 needles keep jabbing into my brain as I struggle to figure out what to say back. Could it be the sheriff had a change of heart about taking me out of the picture? Hold on, I know that voice. I know it deep down, even if it's all scratched up. God, could it really? Bad week, huh? Seriously, is this a joke? I must have shuffled off this immortal call back at Elysium, and this is hell messing with me for kicks, because why else would he pick this exact moment of all possible moments to stage his grand comeback? Take your time, kid. I know it's a lot. I can't get a word out. Why can't I speak? I've gone through hell and then some over this bullshit, and now when it's my turn to lay into him, my voice fails me. And that smirk. What a pretentious jerk. Absolutely not. Not again. I just can't. I can't. You didn't show up. I know. I'm sorry, Kali. Why now? So, what's different? Why choose to pop up now? Shifts in the game. You know how it is. Plus, I've been missing you. We lapse into an uneasy silence. He seems roughed up, upon closer look. Like he's been through the ringer, recovering from torpor or something. But his eyes haven't lost their fire. In fact, they seem to burn even brighter than before. You look like shit. Breaking the bond will do that to you. A bond? What's he talking about? How's Aisling holding up? The art hole looks like a blast zone. It's a wonder only a handful didn't bite it last night. Did this asshole actually have the nerve to visit the Elysium ruins after what went down? The sheer fucking yupers. Marching straight into the shitstorm like he owns the place, with the whole world on his tail, ready to gloat. Wait, holy shit. You were there, weren't you? Where we almost got sniped? It should have clicked earlier, the dog. You were bonded. Reynard cracks a smile, lets out a soft whistle. Next thing I know, the Doberman I saw on the roof dashes in, tail wagging enthusiastically, and wraps himself around Reynard's legs. He playfully roughhouses with the dog for a while. You were knee-deep in shit. After that ritual, I was hanging by a thread, but I couldn't just let you croak. Our clan. We're a rare breed. Gotta have each other's backs, remember? Oh, and you're really looking out for us now, huh? Beyond what you can even imagine. As the dust in my mind settles, it dawns on me. Why did he inquire about the Tremere Regent? It's not like they were close or anything. I don't think so, at least. Why the sudden curiosity about Ailing? I may have made a promise that, honestly, I'm not planning to keep. So how's she doing? Most of the court got off pretty much unscathed, but Aisling? She's in a bad way, like really bad. I don't see her bouncing back anytime soon. Reynard brows relaxes. Well, I'll be damned. Haha, that's one problem we can scratch off the list. We? Does he actually think he can charm his way out of this? Not this time. He can take this act and shove it. Cut the shit, Reynard. There's no we anymore, not unless you've got a damn good explanation for all the garbage I dug up. He gestures a mock surrender, hands raised. Busted. Then he shifts and sprawls in his seat, settling into his usual mode for spinning yarn. Looks like I'm about to be treated to another story, a part of our old routine I know all too well. Listen, I know you've been poking around, trying to make sense of things. I get it, no hard feelings. Survival's the game we're all playing. Fill me in on what you've uncovered, so I can skip the boring parts. Initially, I vowed to keep my lips sealed. He's lost the right to boss me around, but then, just like that, I'm an open book. He always had this knack, this uncanny ability to crack people wide open. Beats me how he does it, but damn if it hasn't lost its effect. So yeah, I spill everything, barely holding back. I still save some stuff for myself, gotta keep some cards close to my chest just in case. I confess that the tower nabbed me over stuff I was clueless about. I threw him under the bus to buy some time. He nods in silent commendation. I anticipated as much. He'd pull the same move in my shoes. Then I bring up Patrick. Oh, that little rascal you've been tagging along, with this caitiff peacemaker, huh? Why, you know him? Not personally, no. Just aware he's out there, taking shit from both sides. Yeah, right between the rock and a hard place. How's he been for you? He, look, it wasn't even, what I mean is, it's not fucking relevant anymore, right? It's your story, kid. Spin it the way you want. I quickly push thoughts of Patrick to the back of my mind. Don't need that distraction right now. I'll tell Reynard about the circulatory system is hot on his tail, the effort's intense and focused, all thanks to a leak from a frickin' SAD. His lack of surprise irks me. Then I fill him on Jessica, on what she thinks of him. Jess has never always had her issues with me. It's like we're oil and water. But she never turned down the chance to cash in on our schemes. Read into that however you like. Anyway, it's a relief to know she's doing okay. I skipped the bit about bumping into Elise and Sarek. Something tells me that's intel best saved for later. I questioned Reynard about the arms dealing. Why even go there? Isn't our usual trade pulling in enough dough? And why with the mortals? Is it really relevant to the uptick in the Hunter's presence? Is it really related to the uptick in the Hunter's presence? He hums thoughtfully and pleads for my patient, a virtue I'm running low on, but I bite. Finally, I bring up Fritra, the Hudson Otakis. I make it clear that I'm aware she's a force to be reckoned with, a genuine danger, and that Reynard is involved with her in some way. It hits me mid-rant. I've been practically shouting the whole time. I lash out, accusing him of keeping me in the dark, of not trusting me, of using me. But then I start to cool off. Unloading all of that, this really did help quite a bit. Still, it hasn't put out the flame of my fury. You really went the extra mile, kid. Color me impressed. He gives the dog another look. His brain obviously running some grifter's calculus. Alright, let's cut to the chase. You're in this as deep as I am, whether it suits you or not. But you deserve the full story, so grab a seat. We're in for a long haul. He slings his leg onto the table, settling onto his narrative groove. Yeah, I've been cahoots with Fritra for over a year. All these covered ops you've been running on the dark web, Fritra's fingerprints are all over them. I bite back my anger. Its time will come, just not now. It wasn't overnight, but I managed to get on her good side. Just let me keep the exactly how to myself. Let's just say it involved ferrying heralds of mortals to her sailing enclave on the Hudson. His voice takes an exaggerated gravitas, such a prick. And then there's arming Aaron Fletcher with some serious firepower. So is he against the Camarilla? Is he doing this like to upset the status quo? Why do it? Let's ask why him. Jesus, why him of all people? It's simple. He's loaded with cash and he has a knack for swaying crowds with just a click of his tongue. Plus there's the fact that public opinion doesn't buy a word he says. Widros chose him because he's the type whose sudden death, should it come to that, wouldn't surprise a soul. It played out just as she predicted, sparking a major hunter assembly, all fueled by Fletcher's drive and, of course, his deep pockets. It worked a tad too well for my liking, as you've noticed. I cast a glance at my healing wounds. Yeah, I've noticed, asshole. Fletcher's antics have turned NYC up down these past month, wiping out Thin Bloods, destroying a handful of kindred, rekindling the feud between the Camarilla and the Anarchs, even drawing in federal eyes wherever he dreads. What the fuck, Reynard? Why would you agree to fuel this chaos? It's a strategically controlled chaos, kid. Something at which Ritra excels. She's playing the long game, aiming to grab the city by its throat. It can't just be that, right? His smile is sincere for once. Annoyingly, it reassures me that I haven't lost my mojo. It's all a smokescreen. She's after another prize. An ancient blood vial, currently in possession of none other than the SAD. Crazy, right? But here's the kicker. He leans in, icy blue eyes gleaming. This isn't just any blood. It's from Sapathasura, the Sapathusura, our clan's antediluvian. To be totally honest, I've never had you down for someone who'd been to history. This isn't about history, kid. It's about what's ahead of us. Okay, nerd. His famous cozy's up to him, staring at me with relentless intensity. Gotta admit, I've got a soft spot for that dog. Once I got close to Vritra, I bet it all on getting tasked with the heist. She's got the resources, but still, it's direct strike against our kin, most formidable foe. But hey, impossible heists are my calling card. She must have said yes, otherwise he wouldn't be here dumping all this drivel on me. He grins, oozing cheap soap opera villain vibes. That's right. And here's a nugget for you, something I've kept under wraps. Of course you did. There was a motive behind it all, Kali. No point in sharing dreams that feel out of reach. Fantasies just out of grasp. That vial? I had my sights on it long before you came along. I knew it was somewhere in the East Coast, but Ritra pinpointed its exact location. But let me be clear, sharing the blood was never in my plans. Wow, what a shocker. I'd be baffled if he actually planned to let it go. He falls silent, lost in thought. It's rare to see him like that, and normally he'd snap back almost instantly. But not this time. This time, it's different. It was during the week of nightmares, you know. Watch our clan nearly get erased. All at that reawakened hands of Sapathusura. I'm one of the survivors, and let's say it left its marks. Feels like shit. I'm actually sorry. Don't sweat it. It's water under the bridge now. But that's precisely why I do what I do. Whether Vitra plans to do with the vial spells doom for us, and we're already on thin ice. I won't stand by and watch. It's up to us, our clan, to carve out our destiny. That vial could be the key to pulling us back from the brink, ensuring we don't just fade into obscurity. You seriously think that you can outplay her? The same kindred to send New York into a tailspin with a flick of her wrist? It's no simple trick. Vitra's sharp. Before sending me on this mission, she bound me to her blood to ensure my loyalty. So this is what he meant by breaking the bond. It was torture. Every plan I devised. Her visage haunted me. Took me a bit, but eventually I managed to contact the plant slick enough to pull the wool over her eyes. So, where's your big win? He scrunches his face like a child drop off his toys. That's the kick. Last night, just as we were set to breach the SAD vault, Fletcher threw a curveball, hitting Elysium. That goddamn mess put everyone his high learned, had agencies scrambling to lock down their assets. The SAD decided to haul their stash out of the city. Classic, right? I feel like there's something. I think he wants me to interject and ask him like follow-up questions, but I'll just let him go. Here's where it gets interesting. The SAD rolling the convoy out under the New Year's fireworks while everyone's eyes are glued to the sky. New Year's chaos is our cover. Everyone's gonna be on the lookout, looking the other way, popping champagne, while we'll be doing the heist of the century. I've laid the groundworks, but we might need to improvise. That's where you come in. I sensed this was coming. The way he circled the story. I know his tactics all too well. I need someone sharp, someone with a knack for thinking on the fly, Someone who doesn't just follow the script, but rewrites it. That's us, Callie. We'll dance around Vidra's thugs and snatch the vial right from under her nose. So what do you say? What do I say? Fuck you is the first thing that comes to mind. But I keep quiet. I'm clueless. All I know is I'm itching to deck him so hard his head ends up in what he is at heart, an asshole. What he did, I don't think I could ever forgive him. He's proven himself to be so utterly selfish. Yet, there's a part of me that can't deny that this insane scheme sounds exciting. Think about it, Carly. It's not just about doing the job, it's about proving we're the shit, fulfilling our true destiny. Suddenly it hits me like a ton of bricks. The truth of my so-called dear old sire. He's a murderer. The kind who wears white gloves, flashing a grin while weaving a web of lies, effortlessly cheating as if it were his right, and coldly shedding blood wherever it suits his agenda. A gaslighting crook, ready to rescue his child, only to betray her when she's no longer of use. How could I have been so blind? So ensnared by his illusion of daddy knows best? Well, the joke's on me. But that's done. I'm not the person he thinks I am anymore. No more playing the gullible child. It's time to carve my own path, and who knows, I might just outsmart him in his own vile game. So you in? What do you think, asshole? He flashes another one of those smug smiles that makes my blood boil. But I can handle it. I think you see the bigger picture. I believe you've got the guts to put up with me a little longer. I get your anger. It's justified, but let's do this last job together. And after, if you want to be gone from your own life, so be it. I've got a few questions first. Understandable, fire away. Huh. So, what's in it for you? Does he really have like this selfless vision of the clan in mind, or is he some grander plan? Maybe he wants to drink the blood to become more powerful, something like that. You didn't show up, like the sentimental route. Like I kind of like feel like Carly is the type of person who would hang on to that. Like, why did he abandon her? But I mean, she knows that the answer to that would be not satisfying. Is she truly Black Hand? That would give me information that might help me in my plans. So I think calculatingly as she is right now, I think she would ask this question more likely. Rumor has it that Vritra got ties to the Black Hand. The Sabbath? Haven't heard a peep that the chest that she's in. Sounds like more smoke and mirrors from her. Just part of the web of lies she weaves to keep her moves hidden. She trades in fear and confessions like nobody's business. And if you're mistaken, then she outclassed me in the con game by miles. But no, in that respect, she's not even in my league. She's a strategist. One of the best, but she doesn't play our game. This is the one time I'm actually rooting for his arrogance to be on point. Have I managed to quench your thirst for knowledge? I used to struggle resisting his captivating nonsense, but I am a changed woman now. It's a lot to digest, I get it. No rush, kiddo. Decide in your own time. It's all up to you. If you're in for the ride, catch me tomorrow night, 2 hours before dawn. We'll meet at the regular Chinatown haunt. I'll be waiting for you. He gets up and strides towards the back exit, with his infamous trailing dutiful behind, with Famulus trailing dutifully behind. Remember, when you're done, we're still solid. whatever you chose, we're still solid. Good seeing you, Carly. Take care. Yeah. The moment he's gone, I call laps onto the steering wheel. My thoughts are all over the place. I mean, jumping into this is clearly idiotic, isn't it? Yet, the thrill of pulling off a major heist buzzes through me, overpowering my better judgment. Damn, my thoughts are a mess. Time to clear my head and figure out whether to crash for the day. Where to crash for the day. Hopefully Mato won't mind me bunking at his workshop. Yes. Before we end the episode, I want to quickly take a quick peek at if we have some new information. We had like some, no new characters, but definitely had some glossary terms. So I don't want to hide them from you. So the blood bond, a mystically enforced relationship between a vampire and another, mortal or kindred. Drinking the blood of a vampire directly from the vein 3 times creates an intensely loyalty to the drinker, resembling infatuation or obsession. The blood loses its grip with time, but it's reinforced by repeated drinks from the donor vampire. And I think one of the things is, very likely, I think, he used the Tremere to break the blood bond, because the Tremere, they are masters in blood bonding, I think. They themselves cannot blood bond people in this edition of Vampire the Masquerade, but they're blood bonded to the clan themselves. So probably he used like their magic for this. That's why he inquired about acing. The Famulus, an animal or collection of creatures that are blood bounded to a kindred through the use of animalism discipline. I should also get a pet. That would be nice. A harpy, the domain herald. A harpy knows everyone and all their secrets and will share them with others for the right price. The harpy is an originally negative epithet, but some wear it with pride, knowing the role of information broker is valued in any court. Yeah, that's what Arturio was, or is. And then we have the Sabbat, vampire supremacists who see themselves above mortals and any notions of humanity. They are a sect that evokes terror in its mention. Their ideology is utterly inhumane. Their goal is to destroy the antediluvians and subject mortals to a world with vampires at the top, known as the Sword of Cain and the Black Hand. That's not quite accurate, to be honest, but that's fine. Like the mythology of the lore is more that the medieval ages vampires used to rule over mortals, more or less in the open. And then there was the Inquisition, and that destroyed a lot of kindred. And the elders, the old vampires, they sacrificed the young. And they, the so-called anarchs, the first anarch revolution, what became of them is the Sabbath. Those are like vampires that still cling to the old ways, where they are superior to mortals and they're not really that focused on humanity. And what became of the elders, they convinced everybody to form the Camarilla to bring order and no longer have this kind of backstabbing and sacrificing each other to the Inquisition. And that was more or less how the origin of the Sabbat versus the Camarilla came. Not quite well summarized, but more or less that's roughly the Cliff Notes version. The Sword of Cain is an alternative word for the Sabbat, but the Black Hand is more like a secret organization within the Sabbat, like a more elitist kind of force. So they're extremely like they're the best of the Sabbat, so to speak. So it's not quite a synonym, but rather a subgroup within it. But perhaps you'll find more of that next episode. Maybe we'll go feeding and then we will crash at Moto's place. But see you then. Take care. Bye bye.